What I thought I'd do today is show you some completed rope work projects that I've done, only because the broken arm is preventing me from showing you how to tie knots at the moment. But what I thought I'd do was get out some of the work that I've done previously and just walk you through it and tell you the different knots that I've used on each section. And so the first two bits of work that I've got here are my bell ropes. One's a long bell rope, as you can see, quite a bit longer than the other one. And then I've got this bell rope here, which is a very stiff, whereas this one is a very flexible bell rope. So two very different bell ropes, and not too difficult to make. Okay, yeah, a lot of work, a lot of blisters, but not too difficult at all. If we start here, basically what I've put in a stainless steel, can't remember the name now, stainless steel hard eye. Is it an eye or yeah, stainless steel hard eye. And what I've basically done is I've got a piece of cord around here which I've spliced to fit around the actual hard eye itself. And then once I've done that, once I did that, I then covered it with some thinner cord, and I basically did some coxcombing around it to just make it look nice and decorative to finish it off. I then brought it up tight here with a Turk's head, and that locked all of that in place. Now within the actual complete bell rope itself, there is a very thin wooden dowel running down the centre of the bell rope itself. The reason for that is, one, it gives me a straight line to follow. It's not very thick, it's about as thick as the end of this here. So it's just running down the end, down the core of my actual rope. And then my ropes where it's spliced here is also acting as part of the core itself. And then what I did was I built up with spare rope, I built up around it to create a nice round fat chunky layer, which I then covered with this decorative knotting here. And basically when you're building up a bell rope, it's called puddining, or building up anything, not just necessarily a bell rope, but anything where you're actually building up layers underneath. It's called puddining, and you're basically using old cord to build it up, and then you can wrap it in cloth as well, just to make sure it's got a nice round cylindrical finish to it running along the length of the bell rope. Once I've built up the main core itself with puddining, I then got myself some strands of cord, and I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like I used 16 strands running straight up here, and with those 16 strands, all I basically did was create crown knotting all the way up the length of my bell rope here. So that's what and that produced basically this particular section here. It produced that lovely effect there. So I just kept going around crowning, and that's where it gives you the spiral effect as well, by going in the same direction round each time. If I were to do it alternate, I would have got straight lines down here. I then covered my horrible messy ends here where I'd actually attached them, and I covered that with a Turk's head at this point here. I then put in another Turk's head at this point here, then a nice long Turk's head here, and then finally at the end here I have got a globe knot, which is not dissimilar to a globe knot is a Turk's head as such, and I put that around there, and as you can see, it has actually completely sealed at the bottom there on this globe knot here. And so that is my fairly stiff, it is stiff actually, bell rope. And finally, when I finished it as well, I did actually coat it with a finishing solution, a mixture of PVA glue and 50% PVA glue, 50% water, and it's just given it a protective finish so that when it hangs outside on my actual bell, every year I can take it down, I can give it a quick wash, and any mould or dirt that's built up on it over the summer months is washed off straight away. We then get on to this bell rope here, and basically very similar to the last one. I got myself a piece of rope, I spliced it, and I spliced it down here, and then to hold it all together I put a Turk's head at the top here. The actual cordage that I used here it's tarred rope, and it was a nightmare to work with. It was heavily tarred, it was very stiff to use, and it was also very, very filthy dirty to work with. And so that's what I used there for that. On the top piece here I used some cotton cord, and with that cotton cord once again I did some coxcombing to give myself a lovely finish on that. I left the rope underneath bare there. We then went on to another Turk's head, and similar to the last rope here, I then had some strands coming up here which I crowned all the way up to this point here and covered with another Turk's head to finish it off. We then get down to another part of the rope where I actually wrapped my rope round like this. This is called worming, where when you have a piece of rope, I'm putting it into the groove of the rope just by twisting it around, and then that is finally held in place there with another Turk's head knot. And then we get onto the final piece here. All the way around here is a complete Turk's head. From there to there is a 2-bite Turk's head, so it's a long Turk's head knot, and then there's a 4-bite Turk's head at the top end here, finishing it off just to make it look a little bit more decorative. And so that is my bell ropes, and they will sit outside spring, summer and autumn, come in for the winter, have a wash and a clean, and then ready to go out again next spring. The next two items I've got here are my glasses cases. Very simple, and basically just open them up so that you can see my glasses sit inside as such. This is my car glasses, this is my, when I've lost some glasses somewhere, and I have them lying around all over the place. But they're easy to recognise, and basically with both of these here, this one here is 90% with the Turk's head. Just put that back together like so, and you can see here what I've done here is I've started at this end and I've put a globe knot over the top as such. Globe knot, Turk's head, put another Turk's head here to cover that join there. There's a wide Turk's head here, then it goes down onto another Turk's head, and then just for a little bit of difference here, what I've done is I've done some French hitching here on there, and as you can see it just has a nice spiral as it goes down like that, and this is all cotton cord, and it just has a lovely effect on that ridge there. We then get on to another Turk's head, and then finally finished off here with another globe knot which has sealed the end as well. Similar to this one is made with a polished hemp, and also the inner colouring here is a cotton cord, so it's hemp is the darker stuff, the lighter stuff is a cotton cord. Both of them are 3-strand right hand lay cords, and in this particular one I've started at the top here. It's a globe knot, a Turk's head, onto another Turk's head, and basically you can see here I've just used a different coloured thread in between when I've created my Turk's head there. Another Turk's head here, another long Turk's head, onto a square Turk's head, and then finally onto the top here, onto another globe knot. So this is another project that I did, and that's my glasses cases. Okay, so the next item that we've got here is we've got my Diddy Bag, and this is the Diddy Bag handle, and basically once it's not dissimilar to the bell ropes. I've actually spliced it at the top end here, spliced it here, run the splice down here so that it forms a core of my actual handle, and just at the top here to hold it in place, I'm not sure if you can see that properly, is a Turk's head. Come down further, we've then got a Turk's head which is made out of white cotton cord, and then this is polished hemp again, the main body itself, which is crowning all the way up onto a core. We then come here to a Matthew Walker knot, and then from the Matthew Walker knot are, let's see, I can't remember how many strands this is, 2, 4, 6, 8 strands are coming out of here to our ditty bag itself. And so you can see there it goes onto the ditty bag. Here is my slider to lock the ditty bag shut, and the slider covers my main threads here so that I can actually slide it down and close the ditty bag properly. And all this is made out of is a long Turk's head here, and it's quite solid because basically when I made the Turk's head I then coated it in some form of resin, if I remember correctly. Made it quite a few years ago now, and then just to decorate it a little bit further I've got a Turk's head knot at either end here just to make it look that little bit more decorative. And then it goes on to the main part. The strings come onto the ditty bag itself, and you can see here at this section here I've got small bags attached to the side of my ditty bag, and those bags are attached to lanyard knots which actually go round the outside of my ditty bag. And so that's my ditty bag there. Oh, the other thing about this ditty bag is as well, if I just turn it over, you can see there I have got a monkey's fist knot, and the whole idea is that the handle can come down and, like a button, gosh, it's so long, and of course it's so long since I've done this, it's tightened up a bit, but you can see here then that once that slips over, it's so difficult with one hand, that it forms a button. That's it, it's coming through now, and so therefore locked it in place, and then I can carry my ditty bag over my shoulder without having to hold on to it with my hands. The other thing that I've got on my ditty bag here is, if we go along here, pull it this way a bit, is I've got certain things attached. Here's an old keyring that I once made with some colour line. We've then got a, oh sorry, let's go back to this. Basically, at the top end of this, we've got the star knot. We've then got crowning along here, onto a diamond knot, and then a 3-strand plate there. Similar thing here with this one, just a thicker version. Didn't come out so well. The cordage just wasn't right for that particular job. Here's another handle that I made, and basically there's hitching here, half hitches along here, Turks heads along here. That's a 2-byte Turks head along that section there. And if we get to the bottom here, just bring that out, we've got some more coxcombing and more Turks head. Turks heads features a lot in my work. So that's my ditty bag. It is a large ditty bag, this one. I actually made it out of an old army kit bag, which had someone's official number on it. I did actually research it at the time, just to see who it was and if it was anybody important before I actually took it to bits. I've now got my other ditty bag here. This is my other ditty bag, one of the ships that I was on in the Falklands. And then here, once again, on the top end of my bag, in fact this bag I used to go to America. I decided I was going to take a trip to America, and I couldn't go unless I had a proper bag to put my gear in, so I decided I had to go to America with a proper bag. And here's my rope slider again. Okay, and then if we go here onto this piece here, oh this is so messy, hang on, just pull that out, and basically here we've got my strands come out of here, go onto a star knot, nice little star knot on there. It's then onto a Turk's head. From the Turk's head, another Turk's head. We've then got wool knots all the way up there to another Turk's head, and then on this decorative end here, once again, I've put some coxcombing in place there as well. And so that is another one of my bags. Now, these two bags, if you go to the IGKT Solent website, which is listed in the description below, I think, if I recall correctly, the making of these bags is actually listed there. So that's my ditty bags, decorative work on ditty bags. And most of what I've shown you today is either available on the IGKT website or in videos that I've done previously, and I promise you that when the arm's better, there will be even more videos to come with this sort of work on. Okay, here is a knife lanyard that I made, and basically the whole idea of this lanyard is that I've got a loop at this end here, and when I take this loop over, I can pass it over my star knot here, and that locks it in place, and then that can go around my wrist or the belt of my trousers, so that I can hold my knife in place. I've got a snap shackle on here. I got this once off eBay. I just happened to look one day and somebody was selling two beautiful brass old snap shackles. So, as a snap shackle is, I snapped it up and took it. And basically, with this one is, I've done a video on this before, how to make a knife lanyard. If you have a look through my channel, you will see that the knife lanyard is listed there, and there is a video on how to make a step-by-step guide on this. But simply, it's made out of the following. At the top end here, I've got a 3-strand plate. This is actually made out of that horrible tarred rope again. Just a nightmare to work with, but it looks good once it's finished. And also with time, the tarring wears off and it does go silvery grey colour. So yeah, 3-strand plate there. We've then got a diamond knot here, a doubled diamond knot, which then goes into a 6-strand flat plate there. Onto, at this point here, another diamond knot. The button itself is then a star knot, another diamond knot, then a half round senet at this point here, and it's all clamped onto here and locked into place with this Turk's head knot, which keeps our snap shackle secure. And so, like I said before, this one is already online for you to make this type of lanyard. Other projects that I've done in the past is netting. I haven't done a video on this yet, but basically this is a purse net that I've made, and as you can see, I've just used netting cord here, and I've gone from green to red and then back onto green again here, and on the end of each one I have got a stainless steel ring. And the whole idea of this is that the rabbit's supposed to run into the net and it sort of folds itself around the rabbit. I've not done any videos of this as yet, but I will do a video on netting shortly. So another thing worth knowing, how to create a net. And then I think probably the final thing that I've got to show you today is this here is my cat of nine tails. And basically, cat of nine tails come in all different sort of designs. As far as I'm concerned, if you can make a ditty bag handle, you can make a cat of nine tails, or the other way around. My ditty bag handles could be cat of nine tails, except they haven't got 9 tails here, but we just add one if we're making a cat of 9 tails. And so this is my cat of 9 tails. We're starting at the top here. We've got a beautiful lanyard knot here. It's doubled this one, which then goes into a star knot. So there you can see the star knot there, and then from the star knot it goes to a square Turk's head and then a long Turk's head. And the thing I can tell you with this one is that the actual star knot itself has all the cords here. All these cords here are in the star knot, but because what I've done is I've used a piece of bamboo, I have run my cords through the center of the bamboo and just decorated the bamboo afterwards with Turk's heads. And you can see here's another Turk's head here, which is actually locking everything in place. And then as we go down here and we bring our cords through, we can then see I've got a row of blood knots here. And blood knots were tied into cat of nine tails to inflict the most wounds possible. So here we go. We've got our blood knots here, and this one's actually got 3 rows of blood knots. Pull that through further. There's the next row, and then pull that through again, and there's our final row of blood knots on our cat of nine tails. And so, you know, once again, once you've mastered the Turk's head, you'll notice that a lot of my work has got the Turk's head in. The Turk's head is a fantastic tool as a covering knot, decorative knot, and you can make a lot of things once you've learnt the Turk's head and a few other basic knots. The star knot itself, I've got tutorials online with regards to the star knot. Don't let it put you off. Once you've made the star knot, it's not that difficult. So all you've got to do is get on and practice these different knots. Anything I've mentioned, do a search on my site for tutorials on it. If I haven't done those tutorials yet, just do a basic search across other sites and see if they've got tutorials on it. But as far as I can remember, also the cat of nine tails is on the IGKT Solent website, and it'll tell you how to make that as well. And so basically, oh, and let's go for another thing. Here's something else simple that I knocked up. Just put that out of the way. A simple Fender. I showed you the other day the Fender book, and if I recall, this is one of the Fenders from that book. It starts off at the top end here with 3 strands that are plated together, goes into, oh yes, you've guessed it, a Turk's head knot. It doesn't have to be a Turk's head knot, but I just figured I can do it so it looked good. And then we go into the main body, which is basically, if I remember rightly, this was walling and then it came up and meshed its way through here. So crown knot, wall knot, and that's a simple Fender, and it's very sturdy, very strong. So I think, you know, hopefully you've got a bit of inspiration from this to go on and look for other things. Practice all the little knots that I show you, because those little knots will eventually develop into something that's rather beautiful like this. Finally, I just want to say, if you're enjoying these videos, please share them so other people can benefit from them. If you want to see more videos and be informed about that in the future, just click on the subscribe button somewhere on my screen and you will be informed of future videos that are coming out. Right, once again, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again shortly.